let's start with this. I want to read you this. The truth has emerged on Tom Brady's contract. Brady got an $8 million raise, and the Patriots simultaneously created $5.5 million in cap space for next year. Brady will escape the potential application of the franchise tag, though. Genius. They give him more. It's more cap space. Sounds like genius New England trigonometry here.
There's always something going on, but I didn't even know the Patriots were dealing in welfare because they just gave Brady $8 million. The last quarterback who won a Super Bowl with the numbers that Brady put up, they showed him the door. Peyton Manning, go look it up. Brady might have 60 or 80 yards more, but he had a fumble, he had an interception. You remember how bad Peyton Manning looked in that? That the defense won it, and the same thing here. 13-3. Tom Brady wasn't that great.
2 years ago, he was the MVP of the league.
Oh, and he also fumbled in the last couple of minutes, right? Lost the football, if you remember that.
In the Super Bowl.
I get it, but I'm just saying, here's the other thing. He has the owner bamboozled. And here's everybody. Everybody goes, because most teams, what do, Colin? You know how many great quarterbacks have ended their career elsewhere? Everybody almost.
Unitas, Namath, Peyton, Favre.
Montana was 4-0, right? He finished elsewhere. This is he's made a friendship with Robert Kraft. He's going to go against everything the Patriots have always done, which is they'd rather get rid of somebody too early than too late. And here's the other thing. While the Patriots are parading this $70 million contract, we took care of our guy, to satisfy the fan base, the reality is he got an $8 million a year, $8 million raise on this year, and nothing guaranteed. That $70 million is a phony contract. If he falls off the cliff as a 42-year-old, they're not. If they really believe in Tom Brady and he's this freak of nature and he, Colin, is going to play till 45, why didn't they give him a contract till 45? Why didn't they sign him up and make that money guarantee and tell Tom Brady, we're committed to you no matter what? Well, because they know the deal. It ain't going to happen.
Well, I think Brady's at a point. I mean, if you're asking me who's got leverage, Belichick can coach for another 8 years. Tom probably can't play for another 8. So the coach has leverage over the player, but I think Tom Brady knows how the NFL works, is that the player, even if you're a star quarterback, very rarely has leverage. I mean, let's be honest. Even if you're a great quarterback, a franchise can tag you twice. You're kind of trapped in the NFL.
And here's the other thing. People always praise Tom Brady. Oh, he takes less money. And other players, first of all, it's a bad precedent by Tom Brady that hurts other players, star players, where they go, well, look at Tom Brady. He won Super Bowl. He's unselfish. He doesn't need. You're giving a discount to billionaires. Your wife is very wealthy. We get it. But it's not right to do that. And here's the other part. For all the money he saved, a billion-dollar owner, he also, people always give him credit and say, Tom's done more with less. Well, if you're saving the franchise money, how come you're not spending it on star receivers if he has extra money?
Well, they spend it on corners. They spend it on occasionally a linebacker. They pay their kicker well. They pay their secondary well. They paid Gronk well. They pay their offensive line pretty well. I've always thought it almost sounds like a Saturday Night Live bit. Tom's never the highest paid. Where's the money going? But what they do is they sprinkle it around everybody. They'll pay a kicker. They'll pay a defensive down lineman. They'll pay a center.
But the only thing is, I just think it's unfair to ask millionaires to give a billionaire a break. I just don't buy into that.
Okay. How about this? The Raiders are on Hard Knocks. A friend of mine texted me last hour, and he said, I'm driving in San Francisco. There's a big sign over the freeway, HBO, John Gruden holding the football. Derek Carr said yesterday when asked about the distraction, it's not a distraction, he said, because Coach is always filming his presentation, so we're kind of used to it. I think John Gruden's good for business. I'm not sure he's going to be good for the AFC West standings.
Absolutely. And this is the problem with the whole thing that's happened. It's a reality show and not about football. That's why the Raiders are in the position they're in. It's always about everything else. Give a coach $100 million of ridiculous contract. Did you see John Gruden's record? Have you seen it since he won that Super Bowl, which was Tony Dungy's team?
it's very possible by the end of this year, John Gruden's record will be sub 500 in the NFL.
This is what I'm saying. But yet he's given all this thing like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
He's a TV star.
He's a TV star, and that's why this stuff works. That's why the hard knocks. We get it. He spent almost a decade over at ESPN.
He's very talented.
Very talented television guy, knows how to communicate. I get all that. But I just wonder, at what point are you about a football coach and really trying to win? I'm not sure the Raiders are there.
Well, I will say this, Rob. I tend to watch the direction of a franchise. And, for instance, the Rams here in L.A., they got Jared Goff. Then they found him a great young coach, and then they spent money on the offensive line. So they were telling me, okay, our future is wrapped up in this coach, this quarterback, and protecting those assets. With the Raiders, we're not going to pay stars. Just kidding. We're going to overpay for Trent Brown and Antonio Brown. So their messaging to me, the public, has been they don't like stars. Just kidding, we do. We're going to get a guy that's got a little character issue, Vontaze Burfict, and then we're going to go in the draft, reach for guys because they have good character. I can never figure out what the Raiders are doing.
They're all over the place.
All over.
And that's what if you're a Raiders fan, where's the direction? What are they really trying to do?
I don't know what they're doing. It feels like they're making it up as they go.
Right. And I think that's what people don't like. And I think that's why you can question John Gruden, despite being a Super Bowl winning coach. I think there's just too much stock put in that.
This is a basketball. You're going to get all worked up on this. So the all-decade team came out in the NBA. And it's not really fair to Kobe because Kobe's career didn't line up perfectly. So Kobe's on third team. And if he'd gone back 5 years before that, Kobe'd be on the first team. So it was Steph Curry, Harden, LeBron, Durant, and Kawhi. It looks like to me the NBA all-decade team is LeBron and people that could beat LeBron. And I mean, couldn't I just say it was LeBron's decade?
Right. And was it really LeBron's decade from this standpoint? He lost 5 championships during a decade. Should he be rewarded as it's his decade? Is it okay just to go to the championship, or is it about winning? He lost more than he won. I don't get it. If LeBron James was the Buffalo Bills, they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost all 4. Marv Levy should be heralded or should be ostracized? Which one?
Well, I think you acknowledge that Marv was great, but he fell short against often legendary teams.
But this is the only problem. 4 in a row is dubious. I could see if you went and lost 1 or maybe even 2. To go 4 straight times and lose all 4 is a dubious accomplishment. You could ask any player. They would rather go once and win than to ever go 4 Super Bowls.
It's funny about this. You could make an argument that because of the impact Steph Curry had on changing the sport and because he had 3 titles, you could make an argument it was the decade of Steph Curry. Now, again, the decade of. It's not just titles, by the way, because James Harden made the first team. He didn't have any titles. Kobe's on the third team. He's got 5. I could make an argument if you look at LeBron's a great player. And he has certainly made the league more mobile. Players now move more freely. But Steph Curry, I would argue, and I don't think it's much of an argument, changed the game to a much higher level. He brought the 3-ball in. He eliminated centers.
I get that part of it, but the only issue I have is he really didn't become a big winner until Durant got there.
Well, he was a winner.
Okay, but I'm saying a big winner because we saw this past year, no Durant, no title. And they were looking for Steph Curry to come make some big shots at the end of the game. They didn't happen.
Well, you're very tough on them. They lost Clay. They lost Looney. They lost Durant.
Did he have an open look?
Oh,
Colin,
God.
He had an open look.
That's like saying
with a minute to go, he could have won that game with Clay down. You want to talk about rising yourself up and showing what a great player. You would have said, no Durant, no Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry with a 3 wins it. What would you be telling me if he made that basket?
Steph Curry changed the way the game is played. Steph Curry won a title without KD. Steph Curry beat LeBron. Steph Curry won 73 games to set a record in the regular season. That's a lot of good. Now, by the way, I'm a radio host. I have bad segments. I have bad sentences. But I think over the course of my life, you'd say he worked pretty hard and did a pretty good show. Steph Curry, they all have blemishes. Michael Jordan didn't win squat between Worthy at Carolina and Pippen for 8 years. I think you're dinging guys too hard for mistakes when we always should take the bit. Like Kobe Bryant was a ball hog at times. But overall, you look at Kobe and you're like, closest thing to MJ in our life.
I get that, and I think that's a fair point. My only argument or pushback would be I think people make Steph out to be that guy, and when you're 0 for 8 with the game tied or behind in the last 20 seconds, I don't think you're that guy, Colin. You're a really good player, a great player. You're not that guy that they put him on that level, and that's the only difference. That's why I push back on Steph. For all the cute threes he's made, right, like he's playing the Washington Generals, none of them go down when it really matters. If he would have made that shot, I'd have to be right there in lockstep with you. That somehow, some way, he won a big game without Clay and without Durant.
Well, I mean, good God. Nobody can win if you don't have somebody. We didn't have Clay and Durant. Well, then who do you have? Draymond Green averaged 7 points a game. Kevon Looney averaged 5.
He had the shot, though.
By the way,
like he didn't get it.
Finally, what do you make of Baker Mayfield chugging beers and stuff?
I just, once again, it's amateur hour, frat boy, central. I mean, it just, you know what? People can have a good time. I think you have to always remember you represent the organization. Cameras are on you. It's not a good look for kids. It just isn't. And I'm not one of these guys who doesn't want to have any fun, but I think that there is a certain responsibility you have as a face of a franchise.
See, I don't think that's an archaic view. I think I want my franchise quarterback. I always said this. Years ago, I said, I don't like my franchise quarterback with their hat on backwards. Steve Spurrier heard it, went out and said on a press conference, he goes, what's that guy's name, Colin Cowherd? I kind of agree with that. It's not the end of the world. But when you are the corner office representative, like you are the face of $1 billion franchise, I do think there's a certain responsibility. I always said this, and I'm not a quarterback of an NFL team, not even close to it. When somebody comes up and wants a picture with me and I have a cocktail, I put it down. I don't want to represent my company. I have alcohol in my hand. It's not the end of the world. People know I like a cocktail.
Right.
But out of respect for Fox, I put the drink down. You know, I probably made a mistake once in my life, but when people come up and take a picture, I put the drink down. I'm representing the company. I'm out with my wife, but I'm still representing the company.
You're always 24/7, no matter what. I agree with that, and I think that there comes a responsibility. And
maybe you and I are just very responsible.
You know what? Me and you and Chorus, we just we're those guys. Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. That's who we are.
Rob Parker, good seeing you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.